Hi, welcome to Winter Nation. My name is Michael Fagan. I'm the host of the show. Today's Wednesday. I'm joined by Josh Ziegler in Georgia. Always a lot to talk about, Josh. We've been texting back and forth about the stimulus package all week, and it looks like it's getting close. I'd love to hear your opinions. You can comment in. If you like the podcast, I hope you share it, get it out to your friends. You think we're close to the stimulus package, Josh?
I mean, that's the latest news I just heard. I've been, kind of watching it, keeping my eye on it, going anywhere from just keeping my eye on it to like really paying attention. And it looks like they're close. Yesterday, it seemed like McConnell was punting it up to the administration, saying, well, if Trump really wants it, we're not going to stand in the way. Now he's saying that they seem like they're really close to getting this done. Maybe by Friday is what Pelosi said. So I'm sure the Democrats are caving in on a couple of things that, let's face it, the most of us don't really care about, whatever those, stipulations might be. And, the important things to us, which is more than anything, it's what you're getting as an addendum to your unemployment. The stimulus is nice, but, we need to rely on a consistent income. And that would be the $600 a week. Like I said, when we talked on Monday, I said my prediction's $525. Now I would say that's probably on the low end.
Well, when McConnell said he's been hinting about he'd be okay with the 600 if Trump went along with it. He said he's got about 20 senators on the Republican side that do not want to go along with it. So it'll have to be bipartisan. They'll need the Democratic votes to come in and pass it. But the hints are out there. I don't know what the deals are, what they're negotiating with. If it's
I mean, it's not simply, it's about the stimulus, and there's a lot written into this bill. Things that, like I said, there's talking about, moving the FBI building. Trump will probably want that.
I got a bee over here. I'm killing a bee next to my window. It looks like a killer bee.
Get him before he gets you. They're hornets, I think.
Oh, it's huge.
Oh yeah, check him out. Nice. Trump wants his FBI building moved, so they're probably going to have to cave in and give him that.
Yeah. And
like I said, do you really care?
I don't care about anything except get me through the fall, because it looks very difficult for me. And even if I can go out and find a job in a patio, that's going to severely decline in the next couple months. And we still don't know what's going on with, it's nice watching sports on TV. I'm not a fanatic, but you sit down, there was some basketball on last night. You're watching some baseball, maybe get a football game. But if that all goes bad, it's going to affect my business.
We're trying as a society, we're trying. Hopefully, some institutions are doing it right. Like professional sports, they're trying to open it in the right way. They're not being haphazard about it. But I don't know how successful we're going to be. You're right. It's going to be difficult once you have flu season come in. Once it's the temperature goes down to which may be more compatible with the virus lasting longer in air. We keep trying, and that's commendable. But at that same time, it's going to be difficult for us to move forward. And you're right. The fall is going to be. We just need to get through the fall and see what happens.
I understand the other argument. If they pay us $600 till February, it's almost a year that we sit home. And and once we get that security, a $1,200 check, and then $600 a month, especially to the 2/3 that are making a little more money. They don't have a reason to go back to work. I get that whole argument, and you don't want to get that call. You want to stay home. Well, and why not? If you're making double the money, if you're making $200-300 more a week staying home, I get it. It doesn't bother me. Nobody's money. It doesn't bother me, because I'm worried about me. And I need that to just supplement my income just so I can get through all this. So I get that anger, except these numbers are so big, Josh, that $600 a week to all of us is a small part of the whole package.
Well, yeah, no, I
You
get
know,
it.
they're spending more money on helicopters. Now, I don't know if we need helicopters or not. I don't know if we're depleted, if we need new ones, or but in the scale of things, that's how little we are. That the price of helicopters is more than the supplementing incomes for
Let's
the
do a
workforce.
quick calculation right here. You have 30. Let's just go with 30 million people
Right.
unemployed, right? All right. So times that by 600.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. And then times that by however many weeks we're talking about. Let's say another 30 weeks. I mean, it's $540 billion. I mean, it's not chump change.
$500 billion. Okay, I didn't realize it was that big a number. To be honest,
but even that, I mean, you're talking about a $3 trillion package. So
well, I don't know. I mean, they're talking between 3 and 1.
Okay, but okay, of the $3 trillion package, it's only 1/6 of that.
Right.
You know, and granted, there are other things that need to be done. The stimulus itself. And this is hard for me to understand. The stimulus itself, that's really in place not to keep people alive and keep people from going homeless, but to stimulate the economy, get people to spend it. That's why they give it to people that are currently working. You could be making $60, or $74,000 a year, and you still get that $1,200.
They just want everybody to go out and dial up Amazon, buy some shit, go out to dinner.
Wouldn't that be better applied to when we get rid of the virus and people are, able to go back out, as opposed to now when we don't know how long we're going to be stuck at home for?
Well, in an election year, everything's about the election. And it seemed like what McConnell was doing was kicking it up to Trump. And Trump's positive about it, and I would be too if I was him.
He's already said he wants us to get the 600.
Because if everybody's going bankrupt and homeless and getting evicted, they're going to change administrations one way or your local, your state, your federal. Everybody's getting voted out if you're on the street, if you can even get out and vote. And they are counting their beans right now to see what makes a difference. So, I don't care about the 1,200. I just want the 600 so I can just continue. Maintaining for a little while and keep calling people for different opportunities until that comes up.
I mean, for us, it's, again, I don't have a job. I will not be able to get a job that will replace my past job, and I still think my past job will come back when this is all, said and done. So I don't want to lose that job either. So we don't really have a choice right now.
Right. I had a couple, I've talked to a couple people about starting something different or getting into a different job. And in my head, I'm thinking, can I dedicate myself to this new job? Because knowing that if my current job, which I'm unemployed from, calls me tomorrow, what do? I probably go back. And I don't want to burn any bridges right now and accept a job and then leave a job in a month or 6 weeks or next week, because who knows, things change so fast. So the stress level since March, were we going to get paid? And then we did get paid, and then it's going to run out. And then what happens if my money runs out in my unemployment account? Am I still able to, I know they extended it to 26 weeks. Do I go to pandemic unemployment? Do I get regular unemployment? Do they just extend it? Very stressful when you don't have a job and you don't have an industry and you're depending on somebody else. And it's very shameful too. That's why a lot of depression, you can't support yourself or your family. You're not doing it on your own by anything you're doing. You're just sitting home collecting. It's not a proud position to be in. And then you got to tell yourself, like, I didn't do anything. I didn't get fired. I didn't lose my job. My resume is not weak. Pandemic came in and wiped us out. We need the compensation just to get through it.
Right. Of course. And, and then in the backdrop to all of that is that, again, we don't know where we're going with this virus. The numbers are horrible now. They're horrible. We tout when they go down for like one day, and apparently a lot of that was due to Florida preparing for a hurricane. They stopped testing. So the numbers did go down for a day.
Yeah, yesterday was the first day it was under 50,000 in a while, and today it's back to 55 or 56 or something.
I mean, being just being somebody who looks at all the data, you can just tell that this will probably get worse in the fall. And then where are you? Even if you start a new job, or you're selling cars. Well, if the whole thing's getting worse, won't that eventually, filter down to every market? And if you know that you can get by, with federal assistance, just until this thing passes through, passes over us, and go back to your life the way it was, that might be the safe course. You're right. I'd love to be working. I mean, forget the shame or anything like that. I mean, I'm bored. I've been doing the same thing now for, like I said, I had a couple of home projects to do in the beginning. It was like, okay, we're going to be at this for like 6 weeks, maybe a few months. I'll get some stuff done that I could be meaning to get done. I've got the time now. We'll do this. We'll do that. That's all come and gone. Now.
Yeah, I'm just constantly, 6 o'clock at night, I'm washing dishes. After the show here, I'm going to go to ShopRite and try to figure out how to make chicken a different way than I made it yesterday.
Exactly.
It gets monotonous, but then you get into, everything that gives you purpose and confidence and, is your job. We definitely identify ourselves with our employment. What are you? What do you do? And
there's that, and then there's the practical part of it, the structure it puts in your day. From 3 o'clock till 11 o'clock. You know what I mean? Your day's planned out. You're leaving your house at 3 o'clock. You've got to get to work. You do so. You plan out everything before and maybe a little bit after work, and your day is structured.
I never set my alarm anymore. I never set my alarm on my clock. Only to remind me what to do, but I don't have to wake up. I wake up early. I'm usually up before 9 o'clock every day, but right. I don't have to. I never set my alarm.
Yeah, no, I get it.
A couple of weeks ago, you were saying, "Hey, your kids are going back to school in Georgia," and then like a week ago, you were like, "Well, we're on kind of hold. What's the plan in Georgia anyway? How you sit with school?"
So we have a Zoom meeting set up on Friday with our teachers, when typically we would do a meet and greet in person.
Right.
This time of year. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We're actually a week behind. So what had happened was we were set to go back on August 5th, which is today.
Right.
And they moved back to August 12th, saying they're still going to do in-person schooling. But then, a week and a half ago, they said, no, that's out. We're doing everything online. And it's going to be different from what we did last year, which was just kind of, make it up at the end of the year. Now it's like, well, we're going to plan out, true schooling. So it's a long day. It's, from I think 8:15 to 2:45 every day. So either way, we're doing our Zoom meeting to go over the ins and outs of that. But it's going to be online, at least for a month. Now, we just got an email yesterday saying that they're looking to resume in school in September, which I think is very ambitious. Like I said, it all comes back to what's happening with the virus. Everything comes back to that.
Right. Well, Trump came out. Trump wants the schools to open. And he got into a little hot water because he said kids are virtually immune. And I don't know if that's a matter of opinion or if that's like scientific fact, especially when you're talking about kids. You don't want it to be opinion. You don't want to get your news on Facebook.
Good luck these days trying to figure out what the actual facts are. It's tough, right? Isn't it?
Right, but it's okay for me and you to go back to work and wear a mask, and it's okay to have an opinion about that. And some people can say hydroxychloroquine works, and some say it doesn't work. I don't know because how the hell can you know? However, it's a different story when you're talking about kids and going back to school, because it could be a national catastrophe if children get sick.
Oh, if kids start dying, yeah.
It would. I don't even know the word to describe what the feeling of the country would be, and how forget about the elections and everything else.
It would be very real for a lot of people. I mean,
we would go so far backwards. We might shut down the country again. That instead of just complaining about wearing masks, that would be devastating. So I would just say, instead of having an opinion and saying this is fine, and I see, a lot of parents, my kids are out of school, but I see a lot of parents, really fighting for their kids to go back to school.
Like I said, ideally, ideally, I'd love my kids to go back to school. I think it's healthy for them. I think it's healthy for us. But I mean, let's deal with what we got going on here. Let's look at the information. I mean, even if nothing happens to any of the kids, I think there's no doubt there is another place where it's going to be spread around like wildfire. Maybe the kids aren't getting it, but the teachers,
just like you said,
they're going to bring it.
The teachers, the janitors, right. the people that work in
260 people, right? In one district before we even have school, people are just going in there and cleaning and getting their classrooms ready.
Right.
And 260 people tested positive in a school system. I mean, that's
and absurd. The other argument is, well, none of them died. They got sick. They stayed home for a couple of days. None of them died. So
let's not go there yet. And I'm not saying, no, the death rate isn't as high as it was in the beginning. But let's not go with nobody died, because, death follows like 6 weeks after these numbers come out. So, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen for another 6 weeks. Some people die very fast, but a lot of people, get very sick for a long time and then just don't make it, die, so we can't say that they haven't died. They haven't died yet. We can say that with confidence. But yeah, I mean, my point is that, the kids are, whether they're safe or not, it's going to spread the virus around. And it just gives it another place, just like when you open bars and restaurants. I don't know who's dying, who's not out of getting it from a bar or restaurant, but I know that it's spreading around because you got people in close quarters.
We just moved a little backwards here in New Jersey. I mean, we ourselves, Pennsylvania and New York are probably the tightest states. And no indoor gatherings like at your house for a funeral, for any indoor gatherings. Not talking about restaurants, we're not open. Over 25 or 25%. So, and that was a rollback because people were having parties. People were having house parties and inviting people over. So the government came out and said that. A lot of controversy. A lot of people call our governor King Murphy, or King Murphy in New Jersey, because they feel like he's just coming out and, his opinion is just ruining lives financially.
Right.
And I get it, because, man, I go to bed worried every night about what's going to happen. And I can't believe that if you keep us home, you can't pay us. And a lot of people can't get the money, business owners, small business owners. Like I said, almost 300 restaurants in San Francisco out for good, closed down, not reopening. That's got a huge ripple effect. How many? Each restaurant probably has 100 employees, because, front, back of the house, third party people coming in, window cleaner.
I would love to know. I mean, when we got into this, when it first broke out, and the restaurants all shut down across the country, we come to find out that the restaurant industry is the second largest employer in the United States, behind the federal government. So I'd like to know, out of that, what percentage of people are back at work? I don't know. I mean, I know our restaurants are still closed. Outdoor dining, how many people are you bringing in for that? I mean, it's a smaller space. You're not waiting on nearly as many people. So how many people are you bringing in?
Some of the restaurants are thriving because they're made for it. If you're a beer garden, if you have something outside and you have a large area, they're thriving.
Sure.
Plus, because the competition is down, you just took out every indoor dining opportunity. So instead of having 1,000 restaurants in the city, you have 300. Now you have everybody going out to 300 choices instead of 1,000 choices. So they are doing good. And when you say, are they back to work? What does back to work mean? Am I working 2 days? Am I making pre-COVID money? Right. Am I getting by? Am I making too much to collect unemployment, but not enough to pay my bills? Like there's a lot of work.
And that's what I'm saying. At this point, we're just speculating on these numbers. We're not really sure, but I can guarantee you that we're talking probably the restaurant industry in its entirety is probably at like 1/3 what they typically are.
Right.
Bringing in just so, I mean, that trickles down to everybody. And how long can places stay in business for that? And again, as part of the last stimulus package, the federal government knows this, and they're giving money to those restaurants so they can keep paying health insurance for people. It's not just about us and our bills. The restaurant itself has bills, and they're helping them out with that. And I don't know how much of that's going to be involved in this next stimulus, because obviously getting paid for, you're going to need to do that for a while, getting your $600. But, where are we going to be when we eventually do go back to work? How many restaurants are going to close up permanently?
Right. We might not have a job to go back to.
Right.
So many of us might not have a job to go back to. I had a thought, and I lost my thought as you were talking along. But
it's convoluted and complex, man. I mean, we're in strange times, brother.
Well, the thing I think you said was the insurance. And a lot of politicians are fighting to say, your insurance is not connected to your employment, your pre-existing conditions, all that, right? But here where I live, everybody who works in a casino, we all lost our insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all floating around. And I don't know if it was your show or another show that I was on with. I said, I'm scared. I want to take it easy. I want to make sure I don't twist an ankle right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that I don't pull my back out right now. I want to make sure that, I don't want to wake up with a toothache right now. So it's scary on multiple levels, rather than just saying hey, give me $600 and I can go to Amazon.
Right. But isn't it always that way with what we do for a living? Because quite frankly, when you do sprain your ankle, you can't go to work. Whether, your medical bill might be covered, but you can't go to work.
But you're right. But if you have the insurance, and that's normal, when we get the flu, we stay home. But this, we don't know how it works. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and at their job, looking around for cars for Kayla's car shopping. So it's exciting, right? And he goes, listen, everybody here, we have to take our temperature when we walk in, all the employees. And I said, oh, well, that's good. And he goes, yeah, but if somebody has a temperature, they have to go home. You come in with the sniffles, you have to go home. And that doesn't normally happen. We all work when we're sick, when we have the sniffles. We've even worked with fevers. You wash your hands.
Take some Dayquil and go to work. Yeah, I know. We've all done it.
The old saying, you call out when you have something to do. When it's a sunny day, that's when you call out sick. When you're sick, you go to work, right? Yeah. But you can't do that anymore. So this might be you might miss 30 days in a year. You might get fired because, you're just not, they're not letting you work. I got 101 fever. Yeah, but I feel fine. I'm going to drink some orange juice and I'll put in 6 hours. I'll be good. So that's the scary part about that. So thinking about health, I am really finding it hard to work out all the time, Josh. And I'm putting four days in. Now, the thing I hate the most is push-ups, because I'm doing everything at home, so I don't have any weights or anything, right?
Okay.
So here's my question to you. I'm banging out 50 push-ups once right now. And 50 push-ups is almost failure to me. I might be on a bet. I might be able to get 53 or 54, right? But originally I was doing 2 sets of 25. But I hate doing the second set, so I just want to get them out of the way. So I'd rather be in more pain to do what's more beneficial, 50 push-ups or 2 sets of 25.
Oh, I think the 50 push-ups.
You think because you're?
Oh yeah, you're pushing your body past its point right there.
Right.
You're struggling. Yeah, 225 is easy. How how much time you're taking in between sets. I always whenever I do push-ups, I cramp up around 40. I start.
Oh yeah.
My muscles themselves aren't necessarily tired, but the lactic acid buildup is, and I'm cramping up.
I'm out of breath. I'm out of breath, breathing hard. From 40 on, I'm one at a time. Just trying to grind it out. But that's I'm just gonna push and do one set, because once I'm over, I know I'm done for the day. I don't have to do them again until tomorrow. That's what I feel like. So I've been trying to switch up, trying to do every movement that I do. I'm trying, instead of doing 25 twice, I'm trying to do 40 or 50, whatever I can do. Push sit-ups, go up, crunches up to 100 versus 40, and then stop and do something else. And
I'll say this, you should push it a little harder. You should try maybe do 500 push-ups in a week. And however you want to, get through that, whether that's I'm telling you, just push yourself a little more. 50 push-ups in a day is not enough. Do more.
I hear you. I think there's one friend of mine on Facebook, and he did. I think he did 1,000 push. Now he's jacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with no gym. I think he did 1,000 push-ups a day
Mm-hmm.
for like 30 days. It was some incredible like number. He was doing 100 at a time, which, I mean, this guy's like real leaned out and stuff. So he could probably bang out the first 3 or 4 sets. But I saw a TED Talk with a Navy SEAL, and the whole point of it was how far you can push your body.
Right.
And he was working out with this guy on the first day, and he said, "Let's do some pull-ups." So he did like 18 pull-ups, and he goes, "Whew, I'm done." You know. And the Navy SEAL goes, "No, we're not done until you do 100." And he's like, "Well, there's no way I can do even 2 more." And he was like, "All right, well, we're not leaving this station till you get 100 pull-ups." You know, and like 15 minutes later, the guy had 100 pull-ups.
Yeah.
And that the Navy SEAL mindset is, you know, your mind is stopping you. Your mind is going to stop you way before your body stops you, because it's trying to protect your body. It doesn't want your body to go through that much pain.
I definitely think that's true. You know, especially when you're younger.
Yeah.
You know, guys, when you're our age, you know, I think you need to be more in tune with what your body's telling you if you want longevity and health, and to balance it out. I enjoy pushing myself, but you know your limits. You know when your knees are hurting.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a good idea. You know, you get lactic acid buildup, or your muscles are a little tired. You can, you know, push your way through that. You can think your way through that. But you know, if your knees start hurting, you have shoulder issues or something like that, you know, when it's joint related, you got to be careful.
Pay attention to pain. Don't push. Sometimes,
Absolutely.
yeah. I did that a few years ago. I pushed through, and then I hurt my back very seriously, and I was out of work for a month.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you got to pay attention and take a break, even when you don't want to.
Exactly.
Yesterday,
but you should. Oh, we'll still talk about this. I think you should need to start adding some sprints to your workout. I don't care. Just stretch out. Don't look at me like that. You can.
No, I got the bad knee. I got the bad knee.
So you don't go 100%, but you can do.
No, I used to do a thing in football. We called strides. You'd go like 80% for maybe 50 yards, and then walk back and do it again. Mm-hmm. And I'm just, you know,
you can't even do that.
I'm trying. I'm trying, but I don't want to hurt myself and need an MRI, you know, in September. So, but I think I'm going to take the challenge. So starting on Monday, what's today? Wednesday. So next week I'm going to try 500 push-ups, and I'll be doing sets of like 8, and I'll quit, and then 8 more, and then 8 more. But I'll try to get 100 in.
And in that instance, if you're going for higher numbers, in that case, it's okay to break them up. And what I would do if I were you is you throw in a couple other things you could just do with your body. Air squats, even with a bad knee, you could do an air squat. So you do, like, let's just say you do a set of 10 push-ups, then try to get 20 air squats, and then do 15 sit-ups, and have that be a set. Take like a minute off, and then do it again, and do it 10 times. And then you're going to hit real numbers.
I've been working out. I told you this thing called a mace bar. It's a 4-foot bar with a shot put on the end of it.
And
you simulate like digging a hole. So you do this, or you know, jousting like that, and it's improved my arms, but I guess it's a calorie burner. But that's what I'm doing at home. So that's where I'm at there.
Right. I've actually, you know, I've always had a philosophy of you do the bare minimum to stay within 6 weeks of being in the best shape of your life. And how that translates in practicality is throughout the year, I'll probably, you know, I'll take like 3 months where I'm working out 2-3 days a week. And that's
right.
It, you know, and I'm doing different things, whatever it is. Maybe I'll jog this week. I'll go to the gym this week. You know, so far, you know, so on and so forth. And then like every once in a while, I'll be like, all right, these next 3 weeks, I'm going to work out hard.
Right.
I'm going to try for something, and maybe I'll even, you know, diet a little more strict than I typically do. But for, you know, since we've been, you know, here, you know, I've had a lot of time on my hand. I've actually gone pretty hard for, I'd say like, you know, 10 of the last 16 weeks. I'm taking this week off just to give myself a little bit of break, and I'll go hard again. But it's interesting what you can do with. I got a gym built in my house, so I do all sorts of stuff.
I find it harder now than it is when I have my schedule. When I have my schedule, I know I'm walking out the door at 3. I wake up at 9. You work out at 10. Take shower and all that. Now when I don't have a schedule, I look and it's 1 o'clock, and I'm like, well, I'll do it at 4, and then I don't.
Well, you're also like eating periodically as opposed to having a meal. You're like having snacks all the time. So you don't like to work out right after you ate, and you realize, oh shit, I just ate.
Right.
Can't work out.
Listen, yesterday I had Brian on, and he wrote an article in the LA Times about his experience during COVID as a waiter in California. And it was pretty negative. I mean, he wrote it. The article was written excellent, but he was talking about the customers. He was talking about, and he made mention of some seriously abusive chefs that he has seen over time.
Okay.
So I got a message from Nate in Colorado. And he said that his experience so far has been tremendous, very generous as far as customers.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody in his house, like this guy, Brian from yesterday, he even mentioned he almost got in a fight with another waiter because they were fighting over tables basically. And I thought that was cool because how many times waiters will almost come to fisticuffs in the middle of the night.
Yeah, sure.
You'll be walking out, smoking a cigarette with the guy, but during the night, you're ready to lose your job and fight a guy.
Right. Yeah.
So Nate in Colorado was saying, if he wrote about his experiences, and his experience has been very positive, would he have been published? And the whole thing about, yours was negative, so everybody picks up on negative. First of all, negative articles and negative headlines get 68% more traffic than positive.
Well, yeah, it's so controversy. People like controversy. I mean,
people like controversy, obviously, right? So I don't know. I mean, in the very beginning, I heard from a lot of waiters saying like, "Oh, people are dropping me $50 for no reason at all." They're like, "Hey, we're happy you're back. We're dropping $50." Lately, I've been hearing, and somebody just texted me the other day with 3 tips that were like, all their checks were like over $100, and it was like $8, $13, $7, and they were like, "This is my normal right now. It's extremely hard to walk home with any kind of normal money." So I wonder,
and it might be have to do with the area you live in. I know around here, I've got a few friends working. My wife works, and I mean, look, the business, the overall numbers are way down. I mean, they're not doing nearly as much business, but the people coming in, for the most part, are being more generous than normal.
Right.
And look, you and I, we work in higher end places, and I'm every once in a while, sure, you get 15%, 18%. Most people tip 20% or over. And then every once in a while, you have that guy who's just ridiculous. Tips you 50%. Tips you, $200 on a $200 bill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. 100%. I mean, and it's things like that get that put you over the top. But for the most part, people are being, I think, more generous than usual. And as for negative, chefs in the back of the house, there's always been a tension with back of the house and front of the house. I think, and I did watch, I caught some of the show, and a lot of it is, a lot of people in the back of the house, they work hard. I mean, they're sweating, they're back there. Not a whole lot of, positive vibes come their way. And they don't make, the money that we make in the front of the house. So there is probably animosity, among them, and for whatever reason. And when you do come back, it's typically because, like you said, you have a special request, or they already did something wrong.
Right.
Or even worse, you made the mistake and you're trying to go back and correct it before it happened. And, there you go. You told them to, not put blue cheese dressing on. They take the blue cheese crumbles out, blah, blah, blah. And you go back there and that is your fault. And you didn't catch it in time. And now they're mad at you.
Well, everything is, even if it's not our fault, it's our fault. You have to take responsibility. And I get the constant, the little bickering and stuff like that between front and back of the house. Because when we go back and do special orders, it's, we're asking. So kill the messenger, go tell them you shouldn't have come back and have to ask this request and stuff. But I think his point was to the maniac chefs. And I haven't seen that in a long time. I mean, I saw a little bit of it, but mostly I worked in big corporations that have HR. So like you couldn't just unload. And I've seen some shit thrown across the room. I've been screamed at unmercifully in restaurants, not much in the last 15 years. But what I was talking to you about off air was that I think this, like the crazy chefs, the Gordon Ramsays on TV, it's promoted as like, oh, well,
you're cool.
So we're allowed to go nuts.
Yeah.
And I remember when you and I worked for Mark Forgione, customers would come in all the time and he'd go like, hey, does he yell at you all the time?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you, stupid? Of course he doesn't yell at me all the time.
Right.
Why would he yell at me all the time? The guy really thought like, oh, this is like TV. And I said, no, bro, it's TV.
We're trying to get a job done here,
You think he can just scream and yell at me like all day just because, I've seen them lose their temper on the pass. I've seen them scream for runners and hands and scream for the waiter. And guys like you and I are, we never help anybody else carry out food, so we never have hands available, some way or another. So I've got yelled at for that, but that's not the abuse.
I can honestly say this. I've been in the industry since I want to say 98 is when I had my first job. I worked at a little ale house in Easton, Pennsylvania. And, I did that to, you're right, more corporate restaurants, higher end places, to working with you at American Cup with the celebrity chef. Never once have I ever been disrespected to my face. I've never been disrespected by anybody in the restaurant. I've got into it a couple times with other servers, but never. I've never been disrespected. I've never ever felt disrespected. I've probably and I try to be a reasonable person. I try not to bully anybody. If somebody's doing a job incorrectly and it affects how it affects the restaurant or how I make my living, I might point it out to them. I try to be as respectful as I can. But I'd say probably, it's probably been more on me because I don't mind a little bit of controversy. I don't mind a little confrontation. I like it. I think it's fun in life, as long as we don't take it too seriously the next level. But yeah, how about yourself? You have a moment like that?
I'm not very sensitive. So like if a chef goes, yo, Fagan, what the fuck did you do on this table? I don't take that home with me. I'm
the same as you. I'm the same as you.
And I bet you that's happened a lot. I just am like, what did I do? And if it's on me, I say like, Jesus, man, help me out on the fly. And if it's not on me, I'll say, bro, that's not my table. What are you talking about? It doesn't really, I get it. And just like if I end up ripping somebody, a busboy yelling at a bartender or something, I'm all good on the way out. And a lot of times I've lost my mind more so on people than people on me. I mean, I always say like half the city wants to take a swing at me. The other half won't let them because I got my boys, but I got my enemies out there too. Right. But
how about as far as guests? Because your guy yesterday, he had said something about guests like making fun of him wearing a mask or something like that. And
well, I think but again, I'm not sensitive. So when I go to a table and they're like, hey, we work in steakhouse, right? $120 check average. And you go and you say, hey, you tell them something. They go, hey, how's your cheeseburger here? How's your cheeseburger and fries? Yeah, you're a dick. I mean, what do you think? I never heard that before? But again, it's like
sometimes you just have to give them the look too, without offending them. You know what I mean? You just kind of give them that. Like, does this look like a place you're going to fuck around with? You do it with a smile, like I don't know. Well, let's get past that.
There's a fine line because then all of a sudden this guy wants to see the manager, and I'm like, that's good. The manager is my best friend. I'm driving him home tonight. Go talk to him. Go see what he's going to say. Right. I think that a lot of people that they complain, they're like, hey, get your manager. You don't realize I've worked with my manager for 15 years. Now, that's literally the case where I work now. But in most places I work, we're a team. The manager's on my side almost all the time. Unless
yeah, you also have a history where, look, you get a new guy in there and he gets a complaint, okay, it can happen to anybody, somebody's complaining about you. But if you're getting a complaint every month, you're probably not doing your job well by the restaurant. You're probably not doing your job right by the restaurant. You know what I mean? So these are the kind of people now I have to ask. But if it's somebody like you or me who's, it's few and far between, you're having issues and having complaints and stuff like that. And we can wait on. What do we wait on a week? 100 people a week? All by yourself? No, more than that. Probably like 150, 60 people a week, where that's what's at your table.
Yeah, 150, 200 people. Yeah, 800 to 1,000 a month.
Yeah, exactly. So you're waiting. You're waiting on thousands and thousands of people a year.
Yeah.
And you have like one controversy here or there. Nobody.
Well, we've already developed trust, but I think the customer is like, oh, well, I'm going to tell the manager on you. And I think like, well, go ahead.
I want to get the manager there. If you and I are having any kind of issue, I want to get the manager involved before it even gets to that. Before you want to talk to the manager, hey, dude, this guy, I don't know, he misread what I said to him or whatever. Just go over, talk to him, make sure he's good.
Yeah, I'm pretty honest too. I'll say, listen, I fucked this up, like I
make a mistake. I own it. Yeah. But a lot of times, like when it comes into, dealing with, it just comes down to personalities. And look, I'm down in the South now, and I still have a very, northern way about me. And some people, just speaking faster, or some people take that as being curt or being rude. And farthest thing could be from the truth. You got that. Right. But I'm going to be upfront with people about that. Most people get my sense of humor, read my facial gestures. Some people take it the wrong way, and it happens. And you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's get through it. I've never really had too many issues with guests either. At one time, funny story. I've worked with my wife before. We worked together at Morton's in Atlantic City for, I want to say 2 years while we were together. But we came down here and it was a big convention, and it had one of these guys came in with his family. He was a hot shot, but a fun one, a kind of guy you definitely want to wait on. He was ordering up, getting appetizer platters for everybody, being a bit of a hot shot, but still cool guy. You know what I mean? And we had a good rapport. And my wife worked there. She was managing, so she she had a dress on and stuff like that. And my wife's a good looking lady, and this guy made a comment about it. And I let it go. I didn't say anything, just, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then he wanted to take it a little further. And I had to be like, whoa, let me stop you right there before. And he was there with his family. And again, it was kind of trying to be funny, not rude. And I'm like, whoa, let me stop you right there. That's she's the mother of my two kids and blah, blah, blah. And, we had a good laugh about it. But that was it. That was the only issue I've ever had.
Well, my boss at Old Homestead, and this was early on, like 15, 17 years ago, and extremely busy and extremely crazy. Everybody was just surviving for the first couple of years. But my boss there, and he's still there, he still tells the story about me that it was a big party 12, and they were all like Wall Street guys, like 6 foot guys, suits. They were going to spend $5,000 a piece that night, not at the restaurant, but gambling and everything else, and I had some words with them. They were trying to stiff me a little bit. And I went over and I told them, like, this is what anyway, we had some words. So my boss comes up and I'm on the second floor and he goes, listen, how was everything? And I go, well, no, we're not happy. I don't even know what they weren't happy about. And he goes, oh, well, what's the matter? Maybe we can comp the check or something. He goes, listen, I don't want any free drinks. I don't want any free food. I just want that guy's ass right there. And he's pointing to me. They want to fight me. and my boss is in between. And there's like 4 of them. And they go, that's all we wanted is and my boss's name is Brian. He tells the story all the time. He'll go into a restaurant and be like, this guy Fagan? Let me tell you a story about him. And he tells it all the time. I always tell him it adds to the legend. So go ahead. Right. So and he looks back at me and he like with his arms open, like, dude, what the fuck is going on? And I said, listen, I'm parked on the 4th floor of the parking garage and I get out of here at midnight. Tell him where I'm at. We'll talk about then. And I walked away to go do what I did. And the boss was like, what the? And he looked at these guys and like they threw the money down on the table and they left. And I should have been fired for it. Right. I don't know why I wasn't.
Right.
And he reminds me of that story all the time. So
that's funny. That's funny.
Other than that, though, and that was probably an extreme circumstance of business or something that
right.
I can't remember ever getting a fight, like anybody yelling. I'm sure there were. I pissed people off fairly easy. I just had a waiter that we had to throw out of the restaurant about a year ago. Dude, he was coming at me full force. He wanted to fight me because like I didn't answer a question. And we had to get security and get HR involved. Had to throw the guy out. He's like banned from the building.
You definitely have the ability to push people's buttons without really trying, especially, again, in any kind of tense or controversial situation.
It wasn't purposeful. I didn't antagonize it. I didn't, but it wasn't funny that night because I'm like, I'm going to have a fist fight here and go out and get a job tomorrow. And basically it's just protecting myself. But normally if you get in a fight, it doesn't matter if you started it or finished it. Right. Anybody who, even if I got punched, I would get fired. And I didn't retaliate because they say, well, you must have done something to encourage this person to, punch you, to go to that.
Wow. In your case, it's probably true.
I would have eaten him up. I mean, one punch, and then I would have had to eat him up because I'm losing my job anyway. So I would have had to go out in style, But I think there was substances going on, and that triggered it. And that's big in our industry. But they're like barroom stories. I would like to get. I think I can fit 10 people on the screen at the same time, Josh, and I would like to get like 10 of the most vicious waiters that
chefs. So get them all
and
together.
Just start talking stories. Working drunk. Dating people that you work with, customers, big tips, celebrity, like all their stories, their famous stories that they're always telling at bars. And I would like to have almost like a round table of waiters, like maybe on a Friday, we could do it one week, like call some people up and say, get your stories ready.
Or just, hey, what do you hate? I would love to hear like back of the house, chefs specifically, what do you hate most about servers? And I mean, I work with a guy and we're friends. Like we've shot guns together and stuff like that. Yeah. Good guy. And I think we absolutely, respect each other as people, but he has very little respect for what servers do.
Yeah, I did
he just, what do you guys do? You bring food to tables. That's it. And I mean, this is, again, at high-end places, it doesn't respect us as salespeople, doesn't respect us, thinks anybody could do our job and that we don't deserve to make the money we make.
Well, I also hear a lot from the back of the house, especially like from chefs, right? And they look and I go and I'll say, listen, this guy's really breaking my balls. I need this. And, I can't go back and tell him no. Usually in our case, I can't say no unless I'm told that I can say no. So if somebody asks for whatever, a special request, I can't say, you know what, we can't do that. I can't do that unless I go check in with the chef.
Right.
And that pisses them off a lot of times because they're like, well, that's fucking ridiculous. I'm going to say no. I know you are, but I can't say no until you
just go up to them. Hey, dude, right? I know you're going to say no.
That's how we follow things. But I've heard many chefs say, like, I could never do what you do out there. I would lose my shit. I would take these people and throw them out. I don't have that patience, to go along and just play nice when they're jerk offs, when they're giving you a hard time, when they're complaining, when they're sending back a medium rare steak and it's perfect medium rare. I just, they don't have the patience. And I've heard that a lot of times too. So I think
it's also different. Again, they're on salary, so they're not used to that. But if your money depends on it, you learn to roll with the punches a lot of times. You know what I mean? And try to even turn those negative situations into something that's positive for you. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's, and like I always say, people are like, oh, you're only, or people say this about servers, that you're only out for yourselves. And I'm like, yeah, but my interest is in the interest of the restaurant. I'm interested in selling more food. I don't give away anything. first of all, you can. It's not like a bartender where you can give away a drink every, third or fourth drink,
Right.
and your tip goes up. It's not like that with us. Typically, if you're, if the manager knows the people and buying them side dishes or dessert, it pretty much comes out of your tip because your tip goes down because they're going to tip on the total of the check. So, I mean, it behooves us that what's good for us is good for the restaurant. So you don't need to worry about me.
Well, how many times? I mean, I know they're like, you greedy waiters, all you want to do is sell. How many times do you sit in pre-shift and they're like, hey, highest bottle sales tonight wins whatever.
Right, because you want us to get rid of this, that, or the other thing. Yeah,
you want us, you want us pulling out those bottles of wine that are $300-$400 all night long too.
That's why I never understood the concept of coming up with like nightly specials that are less money than what are more popular items. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Where's my motivation to sell that? Yeah, get this great fish for $26 when the fish on the menu is for $37. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, we don't, and I can see like the chef is like, this is a beautiful fish. I made it. You got to sell it. You can't get guys working on commission to sell something cheap. And basically,
put some shaved truffle on it, and we'll sell it for $57. That's what you need to do.
Right. Definitely. I don't know anybody that has worked in the back of the house. I'm trying to think right now. One guy worked in the back of the house and transferred over to the front of the house. Was like, oh, you guys make so much money, I'm going to be a waiter. And then, talk to the GM and stuff like that and said, hey, next waiter avail, I'll come out on the floor because 2 nights out here is a full week back there.
I've seen people that, have been chefs or worked in the back of house that come out to the front of house in a managerial position and then has more appreciation, because when you're in that position, you absolutely have to deal with guests, and you're typically dealing with them at a time when, you're the last line of defense because, some server pissed him off, the hostess pissed him off, or, the food pissed him off, or his table pissed him off, where he's sitting. And, now you have to come out and you're the fixer. And that's a hard place to be in terms of dealing with the guest.
Well, here's the thing too, especially with management and what Brian was talking about. Somebody that I respected as manager commented in and said, "Listen, everything he's talking about is a management problem. This shows me that it's poor management." That's 100%. So my answer to poor management these days is that there are too many administrators and not enough operational experts. Most people can come in and do spreadsheets. They can give you a P&L. They're talking with the chef. They're not in the dining room most of the night.
Well, come in. No, you're 100% right. And do you know why it is? I mean, because a lot of these restaurants, especially when you get into corporate places, they are they're becoming conglomerations. Like you get this place buying up that place. Look at Tillman Fertitta. He buys up everything.
Right, but there's no like.
But my point is, they're much bigger companies, so yeah, they're going to be doing that. You need those administrators in there, but you're right. You lose so much when you're not on the floor, when you're not part of it.
The difference when you get the guy in the suit or the chef to come to the table, and then they'll be like, "Why can't you do that?" And I say, "Because you're wearing a suit.
Right,
you're more important." And right here that you do
100%.
I need you to go there, and I need you to shake this guy's hand. He just bought a bottle of Screaming Eagle, and I need him to know that That's how we get him back.
That's all it is. That's all.
And a lot of managers these days, and I'm talking about maybe the last 10, 12 years in my career, what I've seen, won't do it. Do I have to? No, you don't have to.
I know.
You're the boss.
I know.
You get your 80 grand no matter what.
Think of it as an opportunity. I mean, that's an opportunity to me. And I don't know about you, but this is going back probably early 2000s. I put on the suit for a little bit. And I'm telling you, man, I don't know if it was, time, place, whatever it was, but like I'd go to a table. If there was a problem, I'd just go there, fix it, buy him a couple sides, like just get $100 bill in my pocket.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, you had this problem, this guy pissed you off. So sorry about that. Let's fix it. Let me hear what you have to say. Let's fix it. I'll fix it like this, this, and this. And next thing you know, you've just made them so happy. They give you
Well,
money.
that's another thing. There's a lot of managers that really don't have a lot of experience on the floor. Maybe they were a waiter, for a little while, they're
Right,
bartender
right.
for a little while, and then they move up.
It's not something you learn in college. It's not something that you take a hospitality course for. No, hospitality is got to be more genuine than that.
Yeah, I would
There's no
say
doubt
that
about it.
when I started off, I worked for maitre d's, and
Mm-hmm.
maitre d's were operational guys. They
Mm-hmm.
weren't doing budgeting. They were worried about the experience. And like 15 years into my career, I started working for GMs, and GMs were the boss of front and back of the house. So the chef
Right,
had to listen to the GM.
right,
Where the
right.
chef was usually, when there's a maitre d', the chef is in charge. So
Mm-hmm.
it changed that I had a little more leverage, that I had a guy out front in charge seeing things through my eyes. But then the GM can't do everything. So there
Mm-hmm.
needs to be managers. And that's when I saw managers come in that and guys like you and me and a lot of other guys that I work with, they normally will just go like, you do whatever you want because I can
Well,
trust you. So it's not a
right.
bad deal. I'm just saying it's the shift in the business is what I see.
No, yeah, you are right about that. And then the experience for the guest will go down. I mean, that's just the overall experience and the overall efficiency of how we do things. It goes down. There's no doubt about that. But I agree with you. I agree with you. The best people I've ever worked with, the best managers I've ever worked with, are good at both.
Right.
They're very good at both. They're very few and far between to find those people. And don't get me wrong, the few that I've known have moved up extremely high in the restaurant world.
The
But
guys
they're
that can
good at
do
both.
both. The
And
guys,
they're also like that old line from was it The Godfather? No, it was a Bronx Tale. It was like, would you rather be loved or respected? And he's like, well, it's good to be both. And the best guys I've met are both. They're the kind of guys that work hard, get down and dirty with you, but know their shit and won't take shit from anybody. Have an expectation, will tell you the expectation, but expect you to live up to that expectation. And I've loved and respected them. And
when
that's hard.
I was working with this, he was fresh out of college and he was a manager for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he came over and I had a problem with a wait on the table. It was taking too long. So he comes over and he goes, "How long?" And I said 7 minutes. And he goes, "Hey, you never tell a time. If you tell a
Mm-hmm.
time, then you have to live up to that time." That's the
Right.
first thing I learned in school. And I said, "Okay, but I'm telling you, it's 7 minutes. I know
Mm-hmm.
that. I didn't tell you 10. I didn't tell you 12. I didn't tell you 15. I didn't say about. I know it's 7 minutes because I was in the kitchen. And when I work with you or somebody else, or back waiter or a partner, and I say, how long to that table? Do I have to? I want to hear exactly. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
good, you should know. You just looked at the tickets, you looked at the window, you know where you're at. I don't want to hear 10, 15 minutes. That doesn't work. Our timing is exact.
Mm-hmm.
I need it within a minute. 7 minutes? All right, I got time to go get the bottle of wine. I'm going to put fresh glasses out, and it's going to all hit at the same time. So that I understand where you can't say the food is coming right out. It'll be here in 4 minutes. Then it's
Mm-hmm.
not there in 4 minutes. Then you get in trouble. My point is that the good managers and the good restaurant people, they know. They can tell you. I know exactly it's going to be that.
The best ones are the kind of people that they could turn their back on it. They could walk into a room, any restaurant, and tell you exactly what's going on in the kitchen, what's going on with the bread, what's going on table 44. You know what I mean? They could just read the pulse of the room like that.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people. We've worked for a couple people like that
Right.
know what's going on like that too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I know. And then I've worked with other people that stand in a restaurant like this, and they're looking around, and the whole place is on fire. And I'm like, "What are you doing? Look at this! Look at all this stuff going on. Get in there." They don't know where to step in, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We're going to have Jim McGettigan on today, and I think Jim's going to come back with us next week. He's cool. He's not on Facebook too much, but good guy. I'm sure we're going to have some good conversation with him.
Absolutely. Continue more of this talk. This is fun. But for everybody out there, I mean, anybody who's feeling like antsy about this, I really think we're going to be getting. Look, it might not quite be the 600, but like I said, what did I guess? I guess 525 on Monday. I'm going with that as a low now. I think maybe it's 550, maybe it's 525, maybe it's 575, maybe it's 6, but we're going to be in that range.
I don't know when
range.
Connell said, and I'm not going to quote him, but he said, I'm open to the 600 or the 600 might
I'm
pass.
telling you, there's other shit that they got in this bill that they're going to want to get through. And that's the Democrats will give it to him.
He said it was arrival. A month ago he said this is dead on arrival. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. And yesterday, the day before, he said, the 600 might be able to go. Mm-hmm. That's a tell to me. So I'm just trying to stay positive and also keep looking into my opportunities, going to talk to some people about getting a job. Best case scenario for me is somebody lets me work like 3 days a week under the table. Make some pocket
between. Yeah, no, that would be great. I get it. I get it.
Right. And then people will hate me for
that. Don't say it on the show if you get that job.
No. Definitely not. You always got a secret, but
exactly.
Good talk.
All right,
tomorrow, buddy. I have Drew Talbot. Dude's a monster on social media. 6 million likes on TikTok. So I look forward to talking to him. He's another actor, film producer, and does his own videos on TikTok. So he's in California. We're coming on at 1. Josh, good talking to you, man. I'll see you again next week. I'll talk to you later on today, as always.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, everybody, for watching.